Today, what we're going to cover is how you could start posting on LinkedIn. We're going to be heavily focused on the first 30 days of video. So I like to start with 90 days because if I say, oh, here's your year plan, you're going to get overwhelmed. It's going to get too crazy. So 90 days is actually the proven time frame that our minds can conceptualize around and still take things seriously. People can't get to your profile if they don't see you. And so content is really the fuel behind everything to bring people to your profile so that once you're positioned, people take action after the fact. You could have the prettiest profile, the most optimized profile in the world. If you're not creating the right content and getting it out there, nobody will come to that profile. That said, we can't say we want to succeed on LinkedIn unless we're willing to do what? Content. The more trust that you earn at scale, the more effortless it will be for you to make money in your business, because money is a byproduct of the level of trust that you've earned. So if you're really finding it hard to make money, then you just need to look at how much trust you've actually earned and how you can 10x that trust, both on the front end and the back end. The success of your business depends on earning the right people's trust at scale. So how do we earn that? Content. So what does content do? And I like to just break this down really quickly. So the first thing is it lets people know you exist. Over time, it lets people get a gauge of whether they believe that you're real or not. They get a gauge for your vibe. And that's why video content is so powerful in attracting the right people to you, because there could be someone that needs the solution that you have, problem that you solve, all of that, but they may just like somebody else's vibe better. And what you're doing is you're filtering out those people from the start and just attracting the right people to you. So they know whether they vibe with you or not. That's a big thing. It lets people know the type of expert that you are. So if I see somebody post about their photography business where they photo shoot dogs and their dog owners 100 times over a year, every time I see that person, what am I going to think about? Dogs, right? Dog photography. And that's why people never reach this, because what they're thinking is, oh, I'm going to create one video for every couple of weeks. And it's going to take you so long to build that market share and that association in someone's mind. It's also quantity. It gives people time to trust you, which is so important. Almost every relationship that you've ever had, every person that I would say, hey, who do you trust with your life? It's usually people that have had the chance to prove themselves to you over and over again with the littlest things. And you'll be able to gauge whether they're genuine or not. Because if in one video you're saying this and then you kind of contradict yourself, and then down the line you really don't sound like you know what you're talking about, that's a problem too. It shows that showing up for their audience and giving away free value is just part of their character. It's part of their values. And if I become their client, there's also reduced risk because they're not just going to disappear. Gives people a chance to decide whether they want to work with you before they ever even contact you. And that's why the consultations or the trainings that you do are so different, at least in my experience, because a lot of the people that show up, they've kind of already made up their mind. They're just really there to ask you a few clarifying questions. LinkedIn gives you an advantage. Only 1% of people create content, so there's less competition. 4 out of 5 people are decision makers, so you're just getting that market share in people's mind of people who are decision makers, so you could close deals faster. And then people, the users, have average double the buying power, so you could sell high ticket easier. So consistent content is what helps you build a personal brand. And what I find funny is like people say, oh, I want to build a personal brand, but they don't say, I want to create 365 videos this year. They don't say, I want to put 2 hours on my calendar this week so that I can shoot content. They don't say, I need to pay attention, really focus on the questions clients are asking me. And then how could I share this information with more people that have this question in a way that they would understand? So they want the thing, but they don't understand the work that it requires. And that's why people start, but they don't really continue. You can't say, I want to build a personal brand without also saying, I'm going to commit to do at least 365 videos or pieces of content this year. Because a personal brand can't just be built on quality. It has to be built, especially as you're ramping up, on higher level of consistency. So what's the goal of an unforgettable personal brand? Again, market share. When they need the thing or they want the thing that you provide, two things could happen. They only think of you. So if I see somebody post 100 times, they're the best fly fisherman in the world, they have tours. When I want to take my family fly fishing, they're the only person that I'm gonna think of, right? They've already earned my trust, they've made me laugh, I've seen all the fish they've caught, blah, blah, blah. I'm just gonna ask them, hey, I need to book a tour. When are you available? Or the first person that they give the opportunity to. So maybe I go to Google, there's a few other competitors, I have some quotes, but I really want to give the opportunity to them. You want, when people see you, that they associate you with the things that matter to you and with your business. That's how you know someone's built a pretty successful brand, is because they take up that market share. And there's no shortcut to this. So this isn't going to be like how to create 205 pieces of content in 30 minutes or whatever else you watch on YouTube. It will require you to prioritize helping others before they even pay you. And then people will say, if I give away my best stuff and free content, will people pay me? Yes, they will. Giving is receiving, because what they're paying for is more guidance, personalization, implementation, time reduction, all those things, the right people. So we just have to understand really that the more you give, the more you receive. This is also proven by data. Givers win. And it can completely change your life, because what you're also learning are compounding skills. So Shankar spoke on that stage this week. And one of the first things he said to me was like, I couldn't believe how easy it was. Why? I mean, he's only done like 500 videos, live trainings, virtual conferences, podcasts, webinars, cohort trainings that we lead. So another reason to do video is most of your competitors are not, especially on LinkedIn. Remember, only 1% are creating original content weekly. Out of those 1%, most of them are doing like text posts, images, articles, whatever, or videos of cats that don't get them clients. And then how many of them are actually creating videos where they're in it, they're sharing really great advice, and they're doing it consistently? And it's probably like 0.01%. So when you're just looking at leverage, it gives you more leverage. So you have a better chance of standing out and not being in a red ocean and instead being in your blue ocean. And that's by doing things that others are unwilling to do. And so we're going to start with a 90-day plan. I want to preface this by saying this is not going to be the easiest strategy for you, but it's going to be designed to be what is best for your clients. This design is done purposefully. It's what we've seen work over and over and over again to give our clients the fastest results in the least amount of time in terms of actually taking up that market share in people's mind, so that when they see you, they associate you with your business, the result that you provide for people, who you help, the type of energy that you have, so on and so forth. So your first 30 days is one video per day. And we're going to get into the short videos that LinkedIn is testing in beta and all the best practices that we've seen for that. And yes, you have to be in it. And before I answer all these other questions, like how long does it need to be and why only video? And do I even have to post on the weekends? And what do I say in the videos? Let's break it down. And let's answer first, why video? Our brains are more likely to remember. And I'm never going to fight human nature or neuroscience. If 80% of our brain is visual cortex, and it's proven that we're more likely to build that mental association with something the more we see it in video, why am I going to fight that? Usually people do it because it's easiest for them, but it's actually costing them in the long run, because they could be doing the hard thing now and then it compounds over time, making it easier for them over time. It will also prepare you for success if you've ever wanted to do a course. So think about it. If you don't master some type of video, let's just say starting with short form, how will you ever go on to do something like a YouTube video and have really your authentic energy seep through the video, not stumble, not overthink, just be your confident self? It'll never happen. I could have never done what we are doing now on something like YouTube or the longer form live videos on LinkedIn had I not started with short form video and had I not done it for 2 years prior. I didn't have the confidence. I didn't have the skill. I didn't have the ability to really think about how my audience needs to see a message to really understand it and all the things. So if you ever want to do a course, if you ever want to host a webinar, if you ever want to do any type of longer videos for YouTube, if you want to be a guest on video podcasts, it's just a stepping stone to everything, including probably the most profitable skill that you could have in 2024 and beyond, which is live video. There is no more profitable skill that you could have for a small business. I put my money on it than live video, but it's very difficult to put someone in the Super Bowl or the World Championships that's never even played the game before. If I take someone that's never been on video and say, hey, we're gonna put you on a live video, 300 people are gonna be on there live. What would probably happen is they'll panic a little bit, they'll stumble, they don't have the skills to play in that arena and in that game. And then they'll realize that they just missed a huge opportunity to change their business, to get clients, so on and so forth. But if I take somebody with those skills and put them in that seat, it's a wrap. Live video is also one of the most valuable skills, and it's one of the things that in our process works to convert connections into clients. Eventually, you want to graduate from just short form video to live video because anyone can read a script, and you can prove you're an expert by answering questions live. And if you are an expert, you should want to prove it. So if you build up the skills and then you're put in that seat and then you shine, it's like you being on a stage every single week where the audience, 4 out of every 5 are decision makers. Short video forces you to practice a skill that compounds over time. And it's more important than ever to learn this skill because I don't know if you've heard, but LinkedIn is experimenting with a TikTok-like feed in its app. So it kind of looks like this. And then literally what it is you just scroll video after video after video after video. And I've scrolled for quite a bit of the videos, and I have to say, they're good. It's actually a lot better than I thought. So if you don't have high quality vertical videos, I won't ever even see you on there, number one. And if your video is not good, then it really will potentially stand out in a bad way because like I said, these videos are good. And it's not just that the structure of the videos are good, it's also that the content is good. And the win going into this first 30 days is not whether you go viral or not. I want you to almost pretend that likes and comments don't really exist. I want you to go into it where the only win for the first 30 days is if you finish 30 videos and post them. And the reason why that's important is because of data. Because after doing that for 30 days, there could be 5 to 7 outliers, videos that did better than all your other videos. So the win is 30 videos in 30 days, and this is you versus you. So the first thing on this beta feed is that it has to be shot vertically, which means your phone is up between 30 seconds and 2 minutes. So it should be kind of short, but doesn't have to be less than a minute short. And the best way is for you to not be redundant. I see a lot of content where the same thing was repeated 3 times and the 90-second video could have been a 30-second video. So I'd really get into the frame of mind where you're paying for almost every second. Include text with the video that is 50 words or more. So when you post a video, in the text of the video, you need to include some text. And usually the best way to do this is if you have a bold hook in the video to use the same bold hook in the text. They also want you to focus on one topic. And this is a skill that not a lot of people have. And one way to control this is if you just attach one question per one video. And then make the videos actionable. And this is really the biggest thing. Ask yourself, can they actually go do something once they listen to your content? What is the one thing that they can go do? And if that is not really coming across with the content, then you may want to review it because that's what they're looking for. If you're already doing live video or long video, what you could do is just up-level your setup, up-level your microphone so that your long form, when shorts are taken from them, the shorts are higher quality too. But if not, I think that starting with just putting it on your schedule every day for one video is a great start. So phase 2, the next 30 days, once you build up those muscles, is you're building up to the videos plus 1 live video per week and 1 LinkedIn newsletter per week. And if you want to go extra credit, you could add some polls, a text post here and there. But this is phase 2, after you've done the 30 short videos in phase 1. During phase 2, you should start monetizing. So if you're not getting calls or DMs, consultations, meetings, and they're not closing, let's say for every 3 to 5, you're not getting a deal, then that's a problem. So if no monetization happens after the first 4 lives, it's usually the message that's the problem. Or you're focusing on the wrong timing within a situation that will get that person to reach out for a consultation. A lot of the times too, you're just not mentioning your call to action enough. And you may not be on the stage by yourself. So during this time, your lives are alone. If you're always interviewing somebody, the limelight is never on you. People don't get that chance to see you as an expert because it's kind of distasteful if I invite somebody on my live and then I'm just talking about my expertise and all the things of my business. If you're getting inbound interest, but you're not closing the deals, it could be one of these 3 problems. It could be the messaging because you're just not attracting the right person for your offer, and then the messaging has to be refined. It could be that you lack sales skills, or it could be that the offer's the problem. And then you have to kind of weed them out one at a time. But sometimes people assume that they're attracting the wrong person when it's really number 2 or number 3. And then in days 60 to 90, phase 3 is you're going to take your feelings out of it and make data-driven decisions. Keyword is data-driven. And I see a lot of people, once they start creating content, because it's not easy. I'm not going to say that it's easy, because by this point, since you're starting to monetize, what starts to happen is a new beast starts to surface. Because now you're not just creating content. Now you're also having to balance that with serving a higher demand of clients on the back end. And a few things could happen. Number 1, people go into survival mode where they're creating content and they're serving their clients, but they're not really looking at any type of data because they're just not carving out the time to, or there's a prioritization problem. The second thing that could happen is that they stop content completely to serve the higher demand of clients. But then when those clients are served, there's no new people coming because they stop creating content. So during this phase, it's important that you really prioritize, because you can't stop the content. You want to improve that skill, but you're going to have a higher demand of clients. And it's critical during this phase that you double down on the top 3 types of content that drive your goal the most. And this is going to be different for everyone. And that's why the data in the first 60 days is so important, because without that, on the front end and the back end, we won't really have what we need to help you make decisions in the future. But a lot of people don't even pay attention to this. And what they'll do is they'll be like, oh, I'm going to double down on the things that give me the most impressions, but their goal is clients. And what LinkedIn won't track for you are the posts that lead to consultations. So you really have to be hyper aware of these type of things, because you could be doubling down for impressions, which that would be the goal of somebody that just wants to grow their following and doesn't necessarily need to monetize in the short term. So example, LinkedIn Lives and newsletters drive the most clients, focus on those. Double down on the top 3 topics of content. And you could do this using AI and some internal tracking. The outliers are outliers for a reason. People kind of always assume, oh, that just happened by coincidence, but no. So focus on topics that generate results based on your one goal. We run into a lot of common excuses and fears, and there's a principle where if you just observe something and really become aware of something, it tends to go away. It's usually internally really just fear that you'll fail or fear of change itself, because most people will stay in the hell that they know versus the heaven that they don't. Fear of embracing the discomfort. And about only 1% of people will make it to phase 3. You should just look at one of the most recent questions you have been asked by a client, because that person has paid you before and you have evidence that they value your expertise and all of that, and you could answer it. And this is truly the simplest way to start, because our brains work with questions. Observe the questions that you're being asked. Those questions are probably great ones to answer. And it allows you to just focus on one thing at a time. All right, everyone. God bless you. Ciao.